And I am coming to you with part two of Casting Aspersions. The storm has ceased for now, and I am coming back on by the grace of God to finish the webcast. I plan to finish it, and I've already prayed in the beginning, but I'm going to pray in the second half too, because I'm grateful to God. Dear God, as I said before you should speak, I pray to you that my soul you will keep. And if I should die before I finish, I pray to you, dear God, in the name of Jesus, that any outstanding sins will be forgiven. Amen. So I'm going to just go right into it. I was talking about some of the reasons that people do cast aspersions, and we know casting an aspersion is saying something negative about a person or trying to bring the character down. So I'm going to start. I did competition, so I think I'm going to just start with this part again. And I'm in the co-pilot for Bing.com, and it's my AI, and I did the research through them today. And what this is the reasons behind casting aspersions can vary. But here are some common motivations. The common motivations. There are other motivations, but here are the commons. And I went through the jealousy and envy, number one on this list. I went to number two, which is insecurity. Number three, gossip and rumors. Number four, competition. I did that. Misunderstandings. I did that. Misunderstandings. And I did personal biases, which is number six. Number seven is revenge and resentment. I did that. I did revenge and resentment. And I'm going to go back to that because that is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous thing. And people do this. They do this, and it's oh, it's just awful. It's awful the things that people do, the things that people do. Let me go ahead and make sure that I'm on the right page here. But I know I'm live, so let me go back and make sure that I am here doing this. I'm going to this one that I'm on here, and I know I have the camera on. Let me make sure because I believe I do. I do have the camera on. And so let me go back to my notes. And I'm going to do this right quick. And I go back to my notes here, talking about casting aspersions on people. And somebody ought to say something. You know, so many times we can stop some of this aspersion casting if we will say something. But we have to really make sure that we're in the position to be able to say something to encourage others not to want to cast aspersions on other people. So we have to first take care of ourselves, make sure we're all right before we try to uh, correct somebody else because that can turn into sometimes a disaster. Okay. Number eight, group dynamics, we talked about that. Number nine, psychological factors, we talked about this. Psychological factors. Why do people cast aspersions on other people? Psychological factors means that some people derive satisfaction from putting others down. This behavior can be rooted in their own unsolved emotional issues. And these are really hitting it home, aren't they? We can see because sometimes we don't understand, well, why does he do that? Why does she do that? Every time you say something about somebody, it seems like they always have something negative to say. So there are many reasons. There are many reasons. And some people really they're in such a habit of doing this that they can it seems like they can't help themselves. That's why somebody ought to say something. But now you have to do it. You have to be wise and harmless. Okay? All right. Now, number 10, lack of empathy. We talked about that. That's not feeling other people. Lack of empathy is when you don't feel what other people feel. When people lack empathy, they may not consider the impact of their words on others. Aspersions become a way to express frustration without considering consequences. So remember that casting aspersions harms both the person making them and the target. And I know we went over that. So, next, casting aspersions, we'll talk about that. And then here is the mentality of individuals who cast aspersions on uh, can vary greatly. They can vary greatly. So these individuals can vary greatly. The mentality of individuals, something going on, okay? Here, who cast aspersions can vary greatly, but there are some common characteristics. Number one, indirect accusation. We went over that. They're saying it, but they're really not saying it, but they are insinuating. Then we have the safe distance. The term cast aspersions means to throw, to hurl, HURL, or sling, okay, or fling, okay. All right. So when used with an object, here we go, like aspersions, it implies trouble coming at you from a distance, safely behind the curtain of maybe I meant it and maybe I did not. You hear that? So, safe distance. Talking about the safe distance aspersion. So they can say, well, maybe I meant it or maybe not. We've all had encounters with people like this. They either done it to us or somebody else, and hopefully we are not doing it to other people. That's why I always say we need to have it together ourselves. We must have it together ourselves. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you being here with me. And that safe distance, maybe I said it and maybe I didn't. Maybe I did it, but maybe I didn't. Safe distance, okay? Casting aspersions. This is so filling for me. This is really interesting to me. Really interesting. Number three, avoidance and defamation. Avoidance and defamation. Defaming people. Aspersions, comments about character, and slights of all kinds are just shy of defamation. They are less tangible and merely impossible to define. Avoidance of defamation. Some people are smart, aren't they? We call it smart, slick. Okay, so then we go to ethical consideration, and I think we went over this. The easy tests of ethical writing, that's fairness, that's accuracy, and honesty, are guidelines rather than obligations when it comes to aspersions, casting stones, and casting aspirations should be measured by the same ethical rules. If done to hurt another person, it's advised not to cast either. Okay? If it's done to hurt another person or other persons, it's advised don't do it. Don't do it. Next. All right. So please note that the general observations, uh, these are general observations, okay? And this a disclaimer here, and may not apply to every individual who casts aspersions. The motivations, the behaviors of individuals can be complex and influenced by a variety of factors. So there's some not here, and there's some that are here, and some they might not apply to everybody, but one or more of them applies to somebody somewhere. Talking about casting aspersions, that's a dangerous thing. Okay, we're going to see. We're at C now. Okay, how can we avoid casting aspersions? I wanted to get to this. We've talked about what casting aspersions means. We've shown the signs, we've seen the factors, and we've seen other information about it. Now we want to get some help, and we want to help somebody else, okay? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Okay, this is C. Letter C. How can we avoid? See, when you want to help yourself, when you want to do right, when people want to do right, when I want to do right, I want to find the help that will benefit me and help me to do the right thing. So, how can we avoid casting as aspersions? Okay. Now, avoiding casting aspersions involves practicing empathy, okay, critical thinking, and constructive communication. So here are some ways to avoid it. You hear that? What does it require? It involves, when we want to learn to not cast aspersions, does it involve? It involves practicing empathy, practicing considering the feelings of other people, critical thinking. Think about it. Think this thing through. Okay? And constructive communication. We must communicate. We must communicate. So, number one, seek evidence. How can we avoid casting aspersions? Number one, seek evidence. Before making negative statements about someone, ensure you have evidence to support your claims. Avoid spreading rumors or assumptions without factual basis. Isn't this rich? This is so good. This is so good. Number two, assume positive intent. Assume positive intent. Give people the benefit of the doubt. And I tried to, and I was talking to my sister friends, and something came up, and I was saying, well, and I was trying to justify it for what had happened, and she said, no, no, it can't be justified. So I had to leave that alone. I just got tickled, and went on and left it alone. But we should assume positive intent. Give people the benefit of the doubt. That's what I would want someone to do for me. At least give me the benefit of the doubt. Now, I might have been trifling or whatever. That's just an example, okay? Or whatever, but at least give me the benefit of a doubt, okay? So, the benefit of a doubt, instead of assuming the worst, consider alternative explanations for their behavior. Maybe there's a valid reason behind their actions, and sometimes there can be a valid reason behind their actions. Some we don't see everything, we don't hear everything, and we've seen people in an uproar, and we say, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" We don't know what happened, but we've just seen the effects of what happened. Okay, so give people the benefit of a doubt because sometimes we don't know why this is going on. So next, focus on the behavior, not character. So when discussing someone's actions, focus on specific behaviors rather than attacking their character. For example, say, I disagree with John's decision rather than John is a terrible person. It's how we say it, okay? Focus on the behavior because people do things and you say, well, that's out of character for her. That's out of character for him. So focus on behavior, not character. What is causing him or her to act this way? Because they don't usually do things like that. Okay? Number four, the constructive feedback. This is trying to teach us if anybody's a aspersion caster, trying to help us out. Okay. Number four, use constructive feedback. If you need to address an issue, and what is that? Somebody ought to say something. Okay. If you need to address an issue, provide constructive feedback. You hear that? So be specific about what behavior you'd like to see change and offer solutions. Some people can just tell you, well, you ought to do this, you ought to do, you need to change, you need to this, you need to that. And then you say, okay, well, what can I do? You have any suggestions? They don't know diddly squat. Just running their mouths, okay? But it says use constructive feedback. If you need to address an issue, provide constructive feedback. Be specific about what behavior you'd like to see change and offer solutions. Avoid generalizing or making personal attacks. So we have to be wise and harmless. Oh, yes, we do. If we want to effectively help someone. Number five, listen actively. And we talked about this on point of view many times. Sometimes people they be looking at you, but they're looking straight through you and they're not hearing anything you say. They might hear you talking or whatever, but they're not getting anything you're saying. And sometimes you have to say, what you think? What? What? Okay? So listen actively. Understand others' perspectives before forming judgments. Active listening helps prevent assumptions and promotes understanding. In all thy getting, what are we going to do? Get an understanding. Communicate. Talk about it. And listen actively. Listen. Be attentive. Some people are crying silently crying. And then when they talk to people, some people are not hearing and comprehending the true essence of what they are saying. That's why it tells us to listen actively. Next, number six, avoid gossip. Avoid gossip. If we want to learn how not to cast aspersions, avoid gossip. Refrain from participating in gossip or spreading negative information. Instead, encourage positive conversations and uplifting discussions. And we can do it. We can do it. Yes. What's that on that? Was that the water boy said, you can do it? Oh, yes, we can do it. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Remember that casting aspersions can harm relationships, create misunderstandings, and perpetuate negativity. By practicing kindness, empathy, and critical thinking, you can contribute to a more respectful and understanding environment. You can fan the flames. You can fan the flames. Oh, yes, you can. The next one is D. We're getting there. We're getting there. Is there This is a question I had for my artificial intelligence, for my being.com. Is there a difference in gossiping and casting aspersions? I think that's a good question. How about you? Do you think that's a good question? Is there a difference in gossiping and casting aspersions? Here we go. Yes, there is a difference between casting aspersions and gossiping, although both involve negative communication about others. Interesting, like the man on, is it laughing? He said, very interesting. This is very interesting. Oh, this is great information. Gossiping. What is gossiping? Gossiping is, oh my goodness. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Oh, let me see. Gossiping. Oh, yeah, you're hearing me. Oh, good. I didn't have my ear things in. I didn't have them in, but it was still doing what it does. Okay, thank you, Lord. I think it's still doing that. Okay. Now, gossiping is the act of informally talking or spreading rumors about the personal or private affairs of others. That's what gossiping is. My goodness. I hope this is he's talking about. I was looking at something else and I thought I was live on there. Let me go back and do this. Let me do this because I know I am live. Okay. Okay. Hi, Brian, cousin Brian. This is part two, so I hope you can hear me. Could you hear me? I think you could. I don't see any comments. But casting aspersions on gossiping is the act of informally talking or spreading rumors about the personal and private affairs of others. The information shared may or may not be true, and is often done behind the person's back. Gossip can be harmful as it can spread misinformation and damage reputations. Oh, yes, it can. So that is the definition of gossip. Okay, next, casting aspersions. On the other hand, is a more direct act. It involves making derogatory remarks or criticisms that aim to damage someone's reputation. So when someone casts aspersions, they're typically questioning someone's character, their integrity, or ability without concrete evidence to back up their claims. My. Casting those aspersions. My goodness. That's dangerous stuff. Let me see here. Trying to get my thing here to work. All right, what's going on with you? With my, uh, there it is. My mouse is not wanting to do what it should do. Let me see here if I can do this. Casting aspersions. Okay, so in summary, while both actions are negative and they impact a person's reputation, gossiping usually involves spreading rumors or unverified information, whereas casting aspersions involves making direct, often unfounded, negative remarks about someone. My mouse is on the blink here for some reason, and I pulled out another mouse yesterday. Let me see. Let me see here. What's going on with this mouse? Let me hold on here. Just hold on. Oh, I think I see it. There. There it is. There, it's moving. Okay. It's moving. It's just turned invisible for some reason. Invisible. So it's not letting me scroll here. And that's not good. So if I can't scroll, I can't get all my information. So I have another mouse, so I'm going to look over here because I did take one out yesterday. I did take one out. I hope I left it out or not. Hmm. Well, okay. So in order for me to, it's hung up on me. This thing is not wanting me to finish this talking about casting aspersions. Okay, let me get a battery. Let me check my battery here and see what's going on with the batteries. So just hold on, please, because I can't turn the camera off because the mouse is not working. So let me see here. Is it going to do what it needs to do? I see where it's trying to get some spots down here to touch some places, but I just don't get it. It is not doing what it needs to do, and I do have another battery here. I had all over my fingertip yesterday, so let me see. I'm getting hands on the battery that I had yesterday. Let me see here. There it is. So let me change the battery. Just hold on with me, please. Let me, because I want to finish this. I did sign off because of the storm. I didn't want to be disrespectful to God's handiworks. So I did sign off, and then I'm back on now so that I can finish this because this is such a good topic here. And let me see if it's going to work or if it's just the mouse acting up, itself acting up. Okay, let's see. I put a battery in there. Let me see. It's all lit up. Okay. See it trying to move it. I don't know um, why it's invisible. It is invisible. So let me see here. It is the mouse itself. For some reason, I don't think it needs cooling. So whatever's going on, let me try a different surface to see if that will work. No, it's not working on a different surface. It's just for some reason not working. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to unplug something right here and then I'll plug it back in. I think I have it right here. Okay, just hold on, please. Okay, let me see if that's going to help some. Nope. Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. Now I can finish. I'm going to D. Oh, D is there a difference between casting aspersions? Okay. Now the next is E. Thank you for your patience. The next is E. Avoiding gossip and casting aspersions can be achieved by practicing mindfulness and empathy in our conversations. So here are some strategies. Reflect before speaking. Reflect before speaking. Before sharing information about someone, ask yourself if it's true, if it's necessary, and is it kind. Consider the potential impact of your words on the person being discussed. Consider your words and the impact that your words have on the person being discussed. Next is change the subject. And this is telling us to consider the potential impact. And so, what do we do by avoiding gossip and casting aspersions? What do? We reflect before speaking. Number two, we change the subject. If someone starts to gossip or cast aspersions, try to steer the conversation toward a more positive topic. Somebody ought to say something, okay? Number three, empathy. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. How would you feel if someone was gossiping about you or casting aspirations on your character? How would you feel? Number four, avoid gossipers. Avoid gossipers. If you know someone who frequently gossips or casts aspersions, try to limit your interactions with them. Number five, address issues directly. Was it somebody else say something? Address issues directly. If you have a problem with someone, it's usually better to address it with them directly rather than talking about it behind their back. That's what we so many of us mess up. We talk about the person instead of talking to them, having a conversation with them. And some people talk at people. And that's one thing that's very annoying to me. Don't talk at me. You have a conversation with me. Don't talk at me. Okay? That's annoying to me. And that's very disrespectful. All right. Address issues directly. We've resolved that. Number six, practice silence. If you don't have anything positive or constructive to say, it's often best to say nothing at all. You hear that? It's often best to say nothing at all. Remember, our words have the power to build up or tear down. So let's use them wisely to create a more positive and respectful environment. And that is the end of that. And then my sources here on this co-pilot on how to avoid gossiping about others, helpful tips that came from WikiHow. And then number two, how to stop gossiping, become socially savvy. It's YouTube, came from YouTube. Don't be a gossip. That came from YouTube, I think. Don't be a gossip. How to stop gossiping. That came from a conscious rethink. I've been in that site before. Aspersions, cast aspersions on aspersions, meaning aspersions. So that came from YouTube. Then the questions to ask to prevent gossiping, YouTube. Then cast aspersions in a sentence, driving deeper. That came from the let's see, contentauthority.com. The contentauthority.com. Then undefined, there's some that came from Patreon. There's some came from I is where it is what's is where English, okay, .com, and then Facebook, and then Twitter. So those are the credits that are given here by AI by Bing.com. It's been such a pleasure to bring this to you. I am so grateful to be able to do part two of our webcast today, and I hope that you are having a wonderful day. And if you are in the storm, I pray for protection over you and me. So just be encouraged no matter what's going on. God will make it all right, but you've got to stay strong. Remember that, okay? And I want to say again, today is Bubba's birthday, and I think if I can find it, I'm going to go off playing his a little bit of his song. So there we go. Let me see. Let me share the screen so you can hear. This is Bubba's Irises, aka Bubba's Groove, that I composed, and as when we did uh, his memorial, I played this at his memorial. I love you so much. Enjoy the remainder of your day.